Good evening, people.
What up? What up?
We are the Radio Twins. I'm JJ.
I'm CJ.
And if you don't know, this is the Radio Twins experience. This is where we always say, or we like to interview interesting individuals. Everyone has a story to tell, and that's why we call it an experience. You experience them as we experience them.
Right.
Right. So, and today or tonight, we have brother, Mr. I mean, there's so many titles we could say.
Yeah.
Kevin Bracey. What's going on,
Hey,
man?
what's up, fellas? What's up, twins? How y'all doing, man?
We're living. We're living. We can't complain. My first question to you would be, when do you have time to rest?
So it's funny you say that. So a lot of people don't know, but actually I have a twin as well. So y'all think you're seeing me everywhere, but you're actually seeing my twin. I wish it really was two of y'all. I'm only playing. I wish it was.
Okay.
Because we've known you for like ever. You had it.
Oh man. But sometimes I feel like or people think it's two. There's two of me because I have that. I'm everywhere. I've been tagging that lately. My guy Freaky Fridge out at Lower East Side of Manhattan, he has a clothing line called I'm Everywhere. So when I actually saw my man Malik Yoba, Frat, he had the shirt and he posted it up. I was like, you know what? Let me run with that. So I hit up Freaky Fridge. He sent me a shirt. I've been rocking that and I've been hashtagging I'm everywhere because a lot of people say I'm everywhere. So I'm running with that.
Okay.
Man, we see you everywhere.
Right.
You do a lot of great things, but
appreciate it.
Where do you get the motivation to
do
help?
To
help the community in general, because you do a lot.
Yeah, so when you say things are embedded in you, that's community service is embedded in me on a multiple ways. So my father, growing up, was a community activist in my hometown of Flushing, Queens, in New York, and he ran the block association. He built a community room inside of our building. He did a lot of stuff for the community. He would cook for neighbors in the building who didn't know how to prepare meals, like for Thanksgiving. Like they'll bring him the food and he'll cook it. He had a community patrol, which I manned the radio. So there, men from our neighborhood would be, patrol the area. If there's something going on, they'll radio back to me. I'll call 911, or I had a direct connect to whatever local cop was in the area, and they'd swing a car through. So all that community service stuff was kind of embedded in me at a young age, and I got that from my father. So that's where I get that from. And then the flip side of it is where I found out later on that enter to learn, depart to serve. I went to Winston-Salem State, and that's our motto at that school. And to flip it again, Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune, I found out was my great aunt. That was her motto at Bethune-Cookman, was enter to learn, depart to serve. So she had that embedded in all the students, and that's what she lived by. And that ended up being a motto of the college I went to. And so all that kind of composed to why, or that's in me, and I do what I do. So that's the reason. If I have the energy to do it, I'm gonna do it. That's how I am. I'm not a happy talker. I'm not the type of person who, all right, I get it to you, la la la. That's what we call happy talk, and nothing happens. I don't do happy talk. If I'm gonna say I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it.
Yes, definitely. Now,
what led you down the road of the entrepreneurial spirit? Like, what got you in that road?
So that again goes to my father. And may he rest in peace. He was a hustler from day one. He was a mechanic, electrician. He built houses. He made jewelry. He had hands-on, like I said, he cooked, had all that. He was a superintendent of our building when I first moved into the building in Flushing. Like he did all that work, like I said, community activist, all that. And what people didn't know, you ready for this? He didn't know how to read or write.
Wow.
He did all of that and didn't know how to read or write. He's from the South, something South Carolina. Was working on the field at a young age. Had maybe a third grade education, and he couldn't even write his name. He wrote his name with an X, with a plus sign. With
Oh,
all his IDs and everything had a plus sign. And either my mother, my sister, or me, we would either read the mail to him or read the newspaper to him. He watched the news all the time. But you wouldn't know that. Like he led all these organizations and he would dictate stuff to the assistant and they would write up the letters, either my sister, who's 9 years older than I am, my mom, or then we had a lady named Miss McGuire, and they would do all the documentation for him and send it out. And no one knew that. So he had all that embedded in him and he passed that to me. But that's the one thing he didn't have was a formal education.
Wow. But one thing's for sure, from just listening to that, it shows that no matter what, nothing is going to stop the average human being. If you have the motivation, the power to keep it going, find a way.
Yeah.
That's really good. Doing what you do you ever say no if you know you can't, but you want to, but you just can't?
Yeah. That's a tough one. Saying no, but people have to respect you or respect me in my space. So if I can't do it, I really can't do it. And I wouldn't say I overextend myself to do things. It's I have a breaking point. Like, all right, this is all I can do. If anything comes after that, I have to turn it down and maybe see if we can reschedule another time or another date. But sometimes I just can't do it. It's funny because in the summertime, I work basketball camps in North Carolina. I work Kenny the Jet Smith's basketball camp. And then I work Fred Whitfield out of Charlotte. He's the vice president of the Charlotte Hornets. I worked his camp for both of them over 25 years, maybe close to 30 years, working in camp every summer. But there was one particular, it was like 3 summers in a row where the camps overlapped.
Oh, wow.
So one camp was in Greensboro and the other one was in Chapel Hill. Kenny's camp was at UNC Chapel Hill, and Fred Whitfield's camp, which is called Achievements Unlimited, was in Greensboro, North Carolina. Fred's camp went from 8:30 to 3:30. Kenny's camp went all the way till 10:30 at night, in the morning to 10:30 at night. So what I did for 3 days that it overlapped, I'll be in Greensboro from 8:30 to 3:30, get out of camp, drive an hour up to Chapel Hill, get there right at dinner time, which is probably like 4:35, work that basketball camp till 11 o'clock at night, go to sleep, get up in the morning, drive back to Greensboro, do the camp, and then drive back to Chapel Hill. I did that for 3 days when it overlapped, and I did that 3 years in a row. And like my voice was gone by the third day with coaching and excited with the kids, but it was my passion to help the kids. I enjoy basketball. I love working with the youth. And other coaches were like, yo, you are bugging out. Like you going back and forth, up and down 95 and 85 to work at camp for the kids. But I felt like, hey, I got gas in the car. I got gas in me. I can do it. And I did that. So that wasn't something you think about. A lot of people that said, no, I can't. I just got to do one of them. I can't. There's no way I could do 2. Right. And I did that joint for like 3 years in a row.
How did you get into it? Did someone ask, or you just said, you know what, this is what I want to do. Let me get into it.
So the camp wise, I grew up with Kenny. Kenny Smith's brother coached me growing up. Kenny's 2 years ahead of me in high school. So I knew Kenny all through high school. And then when he went to the NBA and he started doing his camp was very much of a family ran camp. So his parents oversaw the camp, his sisters, his brother-in-law, and then a lot of the coaches were guys that we grew up with in the neighborhood of Queens, out of Left Rack City in Jamaica and Flushing. They were the coaches of the camps. And we had some outside coaches as well. Well, majority of them were those coaches. So that's a Kenny reached out, say, hey, you want to work the camp? And been doing it ever since. Wow. The same thing with Fred Whitfield.
What are the other organizations that you're affiliated with that people may not know that you are?
So I'm a member of the 100 Black Men of New York. I'm a member of that chapter. I'm on the board of prestige for Summer on the Hill, which is a youth enrichment organization that we enrich underserved youth, Black and brown youth in the Harlem, Washington Heights, Bronx area during the summer with summer programming as well as weekend program throughout the year. I'm on the board of that. Um, the Plush Vodka, the camps, Phi Beta Sigma, of course, and that's pretty much it that I can think of.
See, this is why.
That I can think of.
When do you sleep?
Right.
I know. When I close my eyes, that's when I go to sleep. So, and plus I have a 9 to 5 too, so I have to balance all that. Plus a 9 to 5 and a family. My son, my wife. So, but they help me. They help me balance it out. I do get some riff from them every now and then, like, "Where you going? You doing this again?" La, la, la. But that's my energy I got, man. That's my energy I got. So,
off to you,
right? And I
appreciate it.
We literally, I gotta give you applause as well, because last I checked, I think it's not too long ago, you just received a degree of some sort.
Yes. Went back to school, got my master's from Mississippi Valley State University.
Okay.
Appreciate that. Yeah, that was something. I always envied people who did the extra education and got their masters, and like your brother, you got the doctorate degree. So I always envy people that want to excel and do that. So
thank you.
Me going to back to school was something, and it felt great to accomplish that and to be able to walk across the stage at Rice Cotton Field in Mississippi, Ida Bena, Mississippi, and to look out to the audience and see my wife out there and be on the football field and walk across the stage and get to the degree was just like mind blowing. It was mind blowing. Never been to Mississippi. Did everything online. Went down there for the graduation. Flew into Memphis. Hung out in Memphis for the day. Drove 2 hours to Mississippi, to Greenwood, Mississippi, which was an incredible experience because the place where, quote unquote, that Emmett Till went to that candy store was only 10 miles from the school.
Wow.
So my wife and I drove over there. It was an eerie feeling. It's a landmark now. I took a couple of pictures in front of that. And on the way to the school, to the store, there was cotton growing on the side of the highway.
Wow.
So I pulled over. My wife was like, "What you doing?" I was like, "I got to do it. I want to pick a piece of cotton." So I went, pulled over, picked a piece of cotton. The thorns that were all over the cotton was crazy. And I put it in a bag and I saved it because that was like, besides me graduating, that was my piece of history to actually feel what our ancestors went through picking cotton. And in Greenwood, when you enter the town, there's a big sign that says you're now entering the cotton capital of the world.
Wow.
So just imagine how many ghosts are floating around of our ancestors in that town, period.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What went through your mind 2 minutes prior to them calling your name to walk across that stage?
Yo, I was just thinking of my mother and father up in heaven, and my older sister, my older brother who were up there, and just looking down on me and saying, like, I did it. Like, I felt it was just, when I sat there and I knew my name was coming up next, I was nervous. I have crazy butterflies on my stomach, and it was like, yo, I'm about to get my master's. Like, I did it. Like, it was just an incredible feeling. And every time I walk down the hallway at home, or I come out the bathroom, it's on the wall when I come out the bathroom. So I see it every day. So I come out the bathroom, the first thing I see in front of me on the wall is my master's degree. I'm like, wow. I just smile. Sometimes I touch it. I just stare at it sometime and then just keep it moving. But yeah, to get that was so dope.
Wow. So, what was your thought? Oh, we cannot go here. You
Mhm.
business. How did you get into or led in the direction of Phi Beta Sigma Incorporated? If y'all didn't know, fraternity.
Yeah. So it started back when I was at Winston-Salem State. Sebastian Mayfield, who was who was a member of the fraternity, was on campus, and the first Greek letter organization I met on the yard was actually the Kappas when I was at Winston-Salem. My freshman year, first off the yard party, they threw for all the freshmen, and they pulled up in a van. My man Catbird, Kevin Walton, who's a very dear friend of mine, he was driving the van, and he pulled up. And most people, freshmen, the van door opens up, everybody starts piling in. Me being from New York, I'm like, I'm not getting it back. I'm hopping in the front seat. So I opened the front door. And the dude looked at me, and he was like, he gave me a look like, what are you doing? I said, yo, I'm riding here with you. So I got in, closed the door, and he was like, wow. I was like, yeah. He's like, where you from? Something from New York. And he talked about he had family in New York, whatever. So we in the van driving, and he was like, yo, I'm part of Kappa Alpha Psi, la, la, la. So he was, he was pitching Kappa to me. It was cool. But later on that week, more of the other orgs were coming on the yard. And then I met a couple of Sigmas, and just that service part of what they were doing, what I heard about them, that resonated with me. So it was like, okay, I like what the Sigmas was doing on the yard. And then Sebastian, who was really instrumental in kind of recruiting me, was in my ear about it. And then became a squire. But then academically, it was actually my second year. Academically, I got a D in the class. My GPA dropped. So my GPA dropped. It was like, nah, we can't take you till you get your grades right. And then I was discouraged about it. So I was like, man, bump this. I ain't gonna do it. So I just knew a lot of the Sigmas on the yard. All my boys at A&T, Ada chapter, they were Sigmas. They were all from New York, New Jersey, and we used to hang out over there. So I was around a lot of Sigmas, but I wasn't a Sigma at the time.
Okay.
So then 20 years later, I'm at homecoming, and I was allowed to be on the plots. Like, that's how cool I was with the Sigmas. They invite me on the plots, and I'm chilling. So everybody kind of assumed I was a Sigma. I wasn't perpetrating because I never wore power, but it was just my boys. And so Sebastian was like, man, you gonna be a squire for the rest of your life? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, go alumni chapter, join the alumni chapter. I was like, really? He said, yeah, you can do it. So I wasn't familiar with it. He told me who to reach out to, which was Greville French in New York. And I actually reached out to him on Founders Day. I shot him an email on that Founders Day in 2007. And we kicked it, sent the application in, and one thing led to another. And then that April, I became a member of Phi Beta Sigma.
All right now.
Yeah. 07, spring 07 in the building.
Hey, spring 08 here.
Right.
But so going through what you went through, was there ever a time that you've helped someone and they really wasn't feeling it, or said, "No, I'm good.
You know what? That's a funny question. That's a great question. I've extended help to people before, and they didn't see the vision of whatever I was extending to them, and they just kind of fell off or decided not to go the way I was trying to help them. That happened a few times, but for me, my personal feeling is if I can help the next person get to where they need to go,
right,
with my contacts and the people that I know, that's my blessing. Like, I never asked for anything in return to get hit off on the side. I helped you with this. Nah, if you say someone needs something like a artist to perform somewhere, and they need it for a fundraiser, whatever. If I have the means to access these people, I'm gonna make it happen. And I don't look for anything in return. Now, if they bless me, they bless me, but I never look for anything in return to helping somebody else. My gift to help is that's my return to myself. Me gifting my skills to help you out.
We always have we make the person promise when they ask for our help, or when
Mm-hmm.
we always say, if we do this, there's one thing you have to do. And like you, most of the time they always say stuff like, well, what do you need? How much money you need? We don't want money. As long for you
to turn around
and help someone down the line for whatever it is that they need.
Right.
And they're like,
nice.
Oh, that's weird, but okay.
And
yeah, that's dope.
Now the next question I wanted to ask, because you had said hooking up an artist, what got you into the quote unquote music biz?
Shoot. It's crazy. Here we go with KB knows everybody. Right. So this is how it started. So my neighborhood in where I grew up was in Flushing, Queens.
Mm-hmm.
And the surrounding areas are Corona and East Elmhurst. Those are the three. Corona on one side, East Elmhurst, and Flushing. So a lot of guys in that neighborhood, we either played basketball together, either went to school together, or what have you. So with the entertainment side, dudes that in my neighborhood end up making records. So me and Kid from Kid and Play, I was always cool with them. Play is no secret. Play was a stick-up kid back in the day. Like if you see Play walking down the street, you would cross the street because like if you had like a sheepskin coat or something dope, you was in trouble. Like Play was gonna stick you up and take your coat. Like Play was that dude. Kid, on the other hand, was the nerdy dude. So Kid and I kind of clicked, and he actually took my god sister to the prom. Like I hooked him up with my god sister. So this is before they came out. This is when we was in high school, and they had two rap groups: it was Turn Out Brothers and the Turn Out Brothers and the Cool Out. It was the Turn Out Brothers and the Kid and Play. I forgot what Herbie Love Bug. Cool Out Brothers and Turn Out Brothers. I think that's what it was. So anyway, Kid was the Kid Cool Out.
Mm-hmm.
And Play was Playboy from that group. So I kicked it with them. We was hanging out. Boom, Kid and Play comes out. In my same neighborhood, Kwame lived in my neighborhood. So then Kwame came out with a record. Then in the neighborhood, Eric B., whose brother John was on my basketball team, he was DJing for Rakim. So Eric B. and Rakim came out. I knew Eric B. And then Coogee Rappers from the same neighborhood, he came out. Then Large Professor from the Main Source and Onika, they came out. Then Mike Geronimo came out. Then Royal Flush came out. All from my neighborhood. The Beat Nuts, all Psycho Les and Juju, all from our neighborhood. So when they were doing shows, I was in school. As we got older, their records came out, and they would do shows at colleges, homecoming. I would go to the shows, hang out with them, end up being on the road with them for the weekend, then go back to school. They're in Virginia. I drive there, be with them Friday, Saturday, stay in their hotel room when they break out, and then I go back to school. So I was learning the music business, being around them. And that's how it kind of grew for me, being in the music business.
Mm-hmm.
I just so happened to grow up with dudes that came out with records at the same time, back to back to back. And they were all my boys, which is crazy.
How'd you get into the TV situation?
That came from me coming when I came back from school. My man John was working at a independent cable company, public access stations, and he was the cameraman. He was doing a lot of stuff. He was like, "Hey, there was a show that used to be on the station called City Rhythms. They want to revamp it. Will you want to host it?" I was like, I don't know about doing that. He's like, no, you could do it. So Rap City was hot, and Big Les is from my neighborhood too, East Elmhurst.
Wow.
She was on Rap City, so I called Les. I said, hey, I want to do this show. I don't know what to do. She said, all right, well, meet me in the park in Corona, and I'll have you interview me, and I'll teach you how to do it. So I had the cameraman, me and Les sat in the park, and she's like, this is how you do your lead questions. And then the artist is going to want to talk about themselves, so you let them run with it. And Les like schooled me. We did like 4 takes of me interviewing Les, and that's how it started me doing a video show. Then I got with Ralph McDaniels, and he encouraged me. And we ended up doing the show for like 11, 12 years. And I interviewed everybody from like Dionne Warwick to Montel to DMX to my show. If John categorized all the shows we did, which he's trying to do, and put it out, I have a lot of shows, man. And that's how I got to meet more artists. People already knew me from being on the road from the other people, and they became artists. And then me doing all these interviews later on, that just build up my my network of friends.
Well, one thing I think you may need to do is write a book.
Right.
Funny you should say that.
Say that.
I'm probably on page. I'm probably up to page like 100 and 110, 112. Like it's in the process.
We will.
It's in the process, definitely in the process. And I'm gonna give y'all gonna get exclusive.
Yes.
Okay.
The name of the book is called Almost Famous. Because I'm sharing stories about people that I know before they became famous or while they're famous. And I'm almost famous because I know them. So and I'm sharing stories, including pictures. So I got pictures of me and people from back in the day that's going to be included in the book. So people be like, oh yeah, you know them, but how you really know them? Now I got me and then from back in the day, a picture of us together in a book. So that's going to be dope.
This is why we started this show. Felt like, and we had always tried to figure out what are we going to call it, not just the Radio Twins, and it kind of fit because again, we experience people that we think, and it's not just us. Everyone is an individual, and each person has something or a story to tell, and people will. Why we wanted to interview you because we respect you so much because we know most of the things that you do. And it's a lot, which brings me back to the main question that you've already answered. When do you have time to sleep?
Right. But our thing is, you have a lot of knowledge.
Right.
And it's not one arena. It's like you have several arenas or several roads that you've taken where you're like, you have a lot of knowledge. And that could really help the next person if they were dealing with trying to get into the TV industry or the music industry in general, being an entrepreneur or just having positive a positive upbringing. Just imagine how many people could relate to some of the stories that you have to tell.
Wow, appreciate that, man. And I got there's some stories that's gonna come out in the book. Some I can't share, some I can't put in the book.
Right.
But I got it, man. And every night I'll sit or I'll be in the bed and a story will hit me. I'm like, oh damn, I forgot about that. And I'll jump up and start going to my computer, my laptop, and start typing in stories, man. So there's one. So Stephen A. Smith. So Stephen A. went to Winston-Salem State with me. Stephen A. was a couple of years behind me in school. So the way y'all see Stephen A. on TV, that is him. Like there's no fronting. He was like that when we was in college. Wow. So Stephen A., he'd walk across the yard and we yell, Saul, what up? We have a nickname for him. He's like, yo, he always the same. There's one homecoming where we go out to dinner. Me, him, Spank, Phil, Monte, who was it? That was Bernie. So we sitting at the table at the restaurant. So we all kicking it, reminiscing, talking junk. And then Steven's phone rings. So most people, phone ring like, all right, well, hold on. Hey, fellas, I'll be right back. I got to take this call. Excuse me for a minute. I got to take this call. Not Stephen A. The phone rings. He picks up the phone. He goes, John Calipari, how you doing, John? And then he gets up and walks away. So we're looking at him like
why did you do
like, come on, man. You was wanting all of us to know that John Calipari is calling your phone. Yo, it was the funniest thing in the world, man. But that's him. He's like that. That's him.
But you know, and I'm sure one of the we always knew that you knew a lot of people, but one day you were, I think about 2 years ago, of course, pandemic had started at that point, and you were doing interviews on IG, and we always try to catch anything that you're doing, and one day you had an interview with one of the members of Intro, one of the groups that when I tell you, we are fans fans
from first CD to the second CD. I mean, every song, every lyric, because
exactly.
a lot of people
Buddy,
don't know.
Jeff, and Kitty. Yep.
Yes.
And I don't know what it was about that group specifically. Their writing, the way that cross on a record, their singing, all of that. It was just like, wow.
Kenny G. Love Green, may rest.
Yeah.
Man,
Phenomenal writer, singer, all that.
Exactly. And when we saw you interview one of the members of the group, it's just like, wow, you know him. Like,
right.
You know, and it's like it's not just because of the star thing, but I feel like you know a lot of people, respectable people that you know that will help you and help others at the same time.
Right.
And I think that's good to see.
And it says people. A lot. It says a lot about who you are and the type of person you are.
Right.
So
appreciate it. Yeah, I like to keep, I keep people, if I establish a relationship, it's not only a friendship, I establish a relationship. So that's how I kind of keep it. And my access to them is I keep that tight.
Right.
Like, because you get a lot of people, yo, can you nah. That's my people. Like, I keep it tight. I don't change anybody's phone number. I don't change anybody's email. If it was something, I was like, yo, somebody is asking, if you can, let me know, and I'll reach. So it gets to that point. So funny story with intro, real quick. I'm at a show. No, Intro's album first came out. They were on the Untouchables. Eddie F did it. I used to run around with Heavy D and the boys. So I was cool with all the Untouchables. So Trouble T. Roy was one of my best friends, rest of soul. G Wiz was in my wedding, like that's my right-hand man. So I'm at the album release party for Intro. So I'm in there, love their first record, in there. So the dude's walking by. So I said, yo, fellas, man, dope single. Good luck on the album. I appreciate your work. And they all like, oh man, thank you. So Buddy goes, thanks, KB. So I'm looking at this dude. I'm like, how the hell you know my name? Because I didn't say my name. And he's like, it's me, Buddy. So I'm like, well, I know Buddy from the group members.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking in my mind. Okay, why is he saying it? Then he takes, because he's wearing his little sunglasses. Then he takes his glasses off. It's me, Buddy, Ski's cousin. I'm like, yo. So when I was at Winston, his cousin Ski was at A&T. So Buddy was at Fort Bragg, which is in Fayetteville. So it's like Fayetteville, I'm at Winston-Salem, and then A&T is in Greensboro, which is like half an hour. So I used to hang out in Greensboro, A&T all the time. Buddy, since he lived in Fayetteville, he was in the Army, he would get the liquor from the BX and then drive it over to A&T for his cousin. So we hang out in his room, drinking on the weekends, hanging out. I had no idea that Buddy was the same Buddy in Intro. I didn't know he was a singer. So even when the record came out in the video, he always wore the glasses. So it never connected that was the Buddy that I used to hang out with in college. So when he said, yo, it's me, Buddy, KB, what's up? I'm like, huh? And then when I realized it was that Buddy, I'm like, get the hell out of here.
Right.
Me and Buddy's been inseparable ever since. Like, that's one of my right-hand dudes right there. So fast forward, because of Facebook and everything else, Jeff calls me, the other member, Jeff calls me, and we was always cool. But Jeff said, KB, my mother want to talk to you. I'm like, okay, why does Miss Sanders want to talk to me? So I'm trying to
think of what you did.
Yeah, like, because I've been to the house before. So I'm trying to think, at least something at the house? Like, why would she want to talk to me? She gets on the phone. She starts naming two of my cousins who are her family members. How about Jeff is one of my cousins? So all this time, not only is Buddy one of my best friends, Jeff is my cousin.
Wow.
Small world.
Yo, crazy. And that's through Facebook, because I guess his mother saw the page and then saw me and Jeff, and she did the whole thing. And yeah. Wow. Sanders, that's family.
Wow. How did you get into Plush Vodka?
So a friend of mine, Sharice Collier, who I grew up with in Queens, Sharice had invested in Plush Vodka.
Mm-hmm.
So when Plush was having their launch, their first launch of the brand, it was out in Brooklyn. Sharice invited me and my wife to the launch. And Sharice, we cool. She knew I like vodka. So I went to the launch, got there, tasted the vodka. And I was like, wow, this is dope. She was like, I was like, plum vodka? She was like, yeah. Excuse me. Love to taste it. So she said, let me introduce you to the owner. So I walk over, I see this big guy with a big gray afro, older gentleman, very distinct. Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? He was like, thank you for coming out. I was like, all right, thank you. So Sharice wanted me to meet you. Sharice goes, no. That's the father. Malcolm's the owner. So I'm like, huh? So she takes me over. Malcolm's 25 years old. So I'm looking at this dude. He has his wife. And he's like, oh, so she introduced me to Malcolm. And he was like, oh, yeah, I heard about you. And Sharice told me about you, that you know some people. And I need some help with the brand starting in Harlem and the Bronx. Can you help me out? I said, yeah, let's talk about it. I said, yeah, Sharice said you'd probably be able to help us out, grow the brand. So I'm like, yeah, I know a few people. Then he goes, yeah, she told me you know a few people. I was like, but I know kind of the right people. Like, I didn't want to brag on the
Right.
amount of people I knew. I was trying to, so I was like, well, just be prepared, because if I touch it, my reach is long. So he just laughed it off. So we chopped it up. So the next week we're on the phone kicking it. So I said, all right, well, I need a case or so I can run with it and see what I can do. I took that brand, did a couple of events, and I knew how to maneuver, because before that, Hypnotic was out, and I used to hang out with Nick Storm, who's running Hypnotic at Justin's, the Puffy's restaurant, Justin's. So I was hanging out with them and doing events, running around with Nick Storm, Hypnotic, before they started the Nouveau stuff. And so I knew how to, I watched them because I was hanging out with them. So I kind of knew how to move around with the brand. So, man, a month and a half later, Malcolm gets on the phone and says, yo, Kay, you got these NBA players with my bottle. You got these celebrities taking pictures with my bottle. Like, dude, I need you to be part of the company. Like, you need to be down. I was like, he said, no, I need you to be executive of the company. We got to figure this out. So I was like, all right, cool. So I said, let's let our attorneys work it out. And we jumped back. So our attorneys worked it out. And he's like, yo, you're on the executive committee. You part of the brand. Let's go. And I checked with my lawyer. He gave me the thumbs up. So, yo, roll with it. And that's how we've been doing that. We on year 7 now.
Right. That's much respect.
Yeah. Appreciate it. We're in like 19 markets in about 2,500 locations. We're growing internationally. We got, deal with India. We got a letter of intent for Philippines. We're in Trinidad, a couple of spots in Jamaica. Yeah, we're working on this Dubai deal. The UK deals are probably about 80% done. So we're going to be in the UK. So yeah, we rolling with it now, man.
Do you feel like, because it sounds like it's about to blow up more, do you feel like, wow, do you feel like it's going to be to you too much? Like, oh, let me take this slow.
No, what I feel that this is going to explode, and it's going to be my full-time gig.
Good.
It's going to be my full-time. I'm telling you, it will be my full-time gig. By this time next year, I'm already deep in the mix of it being my full-time gig, because it's about to get crazy. Like, really, we got a new flavor that we about to launch, and by the summertime, people are going to be like, what? We got a couple of new designs we're working on. We launched the mini bottles, so we got the 50 milliliters. We already in the airports. We're in JFK, LaGuardia, Houston, Newark Airport. So we're in the airports now, and the restaurants throughout the airports. And we got more airports coming along. So it's about to be crazy.
And it's just stuff like this that, like, we pull from people we follow online. And like right now, I'm in that season of, I'm trying to pray about it, just to kind of figure out what's going to be my next move since school is done. And, I really just, my whole mind is just all over the place. And I'm like, what is it that he wants me to do? And so I pull from certain things, and then listening to you about certain stuff, or I see things that you may post, or some other friends that may post some stuff, and it kind of helps me a little bit. And after listening to this, now you got me hyped, because now I'm like, I like, what is it that, what is my calling right now? I think that's what I'm trying to do. So thank you.
And I
Thank
think,
you.
and I think much to me, I think we have so much respect for you, and the reason why is how you move.
Right.
You don't move, you know, all, you know what I mean? It's you're moving quiet, doing your thing, still doing it,
Right.
and people still see you, and I like that. It's like you can't help but to have respect for someone who does that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. So I really, you know, I've been around people who are to come up, or maybe quote unquote took off or blew up or whatever, and their attitudes or kind of change, or they're unaccessible, like stuff like that. I try my hardest not to be that person. Like, if you know me, you know me. Even if you don't know me, or you follow me and you see me, I'm not going to treat you as if I don't know you. I mean, you know me, so obviously you know something about me. So I'm gonna give that respect. There was one stack of Bibles with Conclave Atlanta, right?
Right.
I'm walking down the street, and frat from across the street yells, "Kevin Bracey, KB," and I'm looking. So when I turn, I see a dude. I know he's frat, but I don't know him. Like,
Right.
he goes, "Yo, man, you deleted me from your Facebook page." Yo, when he said that to me, I was like, okay, this is getting kind of crazy.
Right.
Because
Right.
you know, Facebook, you only can get 5,000 people. And I'm not starting a new page. So every now and then I look at the activity. I'm like, oh damn, this guy, I gotta find somebody to delete. So I'll go through, and if you got less than some friends, if I don't see any conversations, or if I look at the picture, I'm like, I really don't know this person, but I gotta get this other person on my page. I may delete it. So he was one of the people that got deleted. And when I say this dude felt like he was like I just destroyed his world by deleting him from my, I had no idea, yo. I had no idea.
Same
So,
disease.
And here's how we handled that disease. We had the regular Facebook page, but then it was said it's a limit to how many people can follow you and you follow. So we were getting hit up like, yo, I'm trying to follow you. You don't want to accept my, no, that's not us. That's Facebook. So we figured the best way to combat that is to create a fan page. And the fan page pretty much is like unlimited.
Yeah.
But yes, we definitely had that more than once, where it's like we were up here when we're not. We're approachable. We had individuals who, used our help for something, and then it was like kicked to the curb, which is good, because
we never stay so focused where we're like, okay, this person did us wrong. We don't like negativity. We don't like being around it. So like, almost even when we went to the most recent conclave, it was like people knew who we were. We wanted to kind of talk to everybody. We didn't want to body out. Like, and that's, like I said, that's the vibe that you pull off. It's like you just want to be around a lot of positivity, and we get that. So we solely get
appreciate
that.
it. I get two friends of mine, Kenny and Jess Smith. We were out actually when my wife and I when we got married. We went to Miami for our honeymoon. It so happened the Heat was playing somebody in the play. I guess he was playing Boston, I believe, in the playoffs. Eastern Conference Finals. So Kenny, for a wedding present, he gave us tickets to the game, and we were like in the third row, like Gabrielle Union was sitting in front of us, so we were like that. So we go to the hotel to meet Kenny. So we go, and then we come into it's Chicago, because Chicago I walked. That's what it was. So we go into get into the car. So we get into the car, and mad fans out front. Kenny has the driver slow up, and he rolls down his window, And he's like, yo, I got to sign these autographs. When I say it was a bunch of people out there were a bunch. So I'm looking like, damn, it's going to take like forever. Kenny signed every single person's autograph who wanted his signature. So, and dudes had old pictures, Carolina pictures or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So when Kenny finished, he got back in the car. I said, yo, that was dope. He said, yo, if they taking the time to be out here,
Right.
I'm gonna take the time to sign. Look, I'm making somebody's day. Like they follow me. If my signature makes their day, I'm gonna do it. And I'm like, yo, that just so dope. Then he was like, more people recognize me now that I'm on TNT than they did when I played basketball. Like when I played for Houston, people knew me, but they didn't know me. Now I'm in their TVs 3 times a week. Everyone knows me, so I'll take the time. And I was like, man, I respect that. And another quick story, the actor LeMan Rucker.
Okay.
LeMan Rucker he's a good friend of mine. I'm not name dropping. Like he's a good friend.
We love listening like this.
So we were at the CIAA tournament, and me and my wife ran to LeMan in the airport. He told us to a hotel. He said, "Yo, come through later on." So we came to the hotel. We met him in the lobby. We at the lobby lounge, kicking it. So this girl comes over and goes, "Oh wow, LeMan Rucker," pulls out her camera to take a picture, selfie. He's like, "Oh, put the camera down." So I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." He said, "Nah, come over here. Don't take a picture of me. Let's have a conversation. Like, forget the camera's a split second. Let's talk. Let's get to know each other. Like, come on, what's your name?" And he's having a conversation with the person. Instead of the person just taking a quick flick and keep it moving, now it's like a person-to-person interaction, and she's getting to know him, have a conversation with him. And I'm sitting there like, yo, that is so dope. Like when he did that stuck with me. That's something I will never forget. That when people try to take pictures, no, forget the camera. Let's have a conversation. Let's get to know each other. What do you like to do? What school you go to? La, la. And it was incredible to sit there and watch that. And he did that to everybody who tried to take a picture with him. Wow. Some people just walk by and wave, but someone pulled out a camera. He's like, nah, sit down, let's talk.
Right.
And it took it to another level, man. I respect that from him.
And speaking of something we, never forgetting, I don't know if you remember this, but our first live interview recorded was with you.
And get out of here.
No, was it?
No, it was DC Conclave in DC.
Yeah.
We was 2000.
Wow.
Right.
I don't think
we was at the hotel.
Yes.
Yeah. And yep. And wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's all. Because we didn't. I mean, doing radio is one thing, but then to literally do in-person interviews is like a whole nother
level
beast. And you're like, can we do this? Are we able to do this? What is going on? And then it was like you made the whole interview straight, like cool.
Because we was nervous as crap, but it turned out very good.
Very good.
So
that's dope. That's appreciated, man. Wow, that's history right there. Okay.
Right. See, and if they want other stories, at least yours, they're gonna have to get that book.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Now we have questions. It's like fill in the blank. You fill in the blank. You hear the statement. Whatever comes to mind. All right.
All right. Cool.
I could never have predicted
me getting my master's degree.
Wow.
The key to happiness is
loving yourself.
You will never regret
going to Winston-Salem State University.
But you might wish you had.
But I might wish I had. I might wish I had. That's a good one. I might wish I had. Man, you know what? I'm blessed with what God gave me, what I have right now, all that I have. So it's nothing that I that's why there's nothing there, because I'm kind of blessed with what I already have. Like I accept what I have, and I'm blessed with that.
The biggest risk I ever took was
The biggest risk I ever took. Probably, I would say going back to school to get my degree. Yeah, because it's something, it was risky because of the time, pandemic, money was kind of funny. It was coming, but it wasn't.
Right.
And to do that was, and it panned out to do well for me.
Okay.
Okay.
Never be impressed by
Stardom. Everybody's the same to me. I don't get, well, I was starstruck one time when I met Prince.
Oh,
You met
wow.
Prince?
You met
Yeah. I was starstruck when I met Prince. Only time I was ever starstruck. And I shook his hand. That's what really like bugged me out.
Right.
That I was able to get that close. I met him in Canada. He was actually with DMX. And him and DMX was meeting.
Wow.
DMX was shooting Romeo Must Die up in Toronto.
Mm.
So I'm going off on this question. Sorry about that.
No,
But-
you good. You good.
So it was my cousin Monique's birthday, she lived in Buffalo at the time. She turned 21. We drove from Buffalo to Toronto. We was trying to get into different clubs to celebrate her birthday. My other cousin, DT, he was on the radio in Buffalo, WBLK. He had the late night noise show. So he got off late night. He said, yo, when I get off, I'll meet y'all in Toronto. I was like, cool. So it was me, my cousin, her boyfriend, and another cousin on her father's side. We was trying to get in the clubs, but he had on Tim's. So the club owners weren't letting us in because he had on Tim's. So we went to spot to spot, couldn't get in. We ended up going to a strip club, and I felt I was balling because the $5 for me was like $15, $20 to them. Like it was crazy. So we leave there. So a guy was like, yo, there's a hip hop spot, kind of hip hop. He told us where it was at. Y'all might be able to get in over there. So we went there, got to the door, boom, boom, boom. Up, nope, got on Tim's, can't let you in. So we like, damn. So we go to leave, and I hear a voice across the street. Someone's talking. I'm like, oh shit, it's DMX. Now for my show, I had interviewed DMX maybe a month before, which was my first time meeting him. And we had a great interview. So I was like, shit, that's DMX. So I'm like, yo, X. So he turns, he looks. He goes, yo, what up, dog? Yo, what up, dog? Now he talk, yo, what up, dog? So he's coming across the street, and we see, oh, what you doing up here? He gives me a hug, whatever. And he's like, I was like, yo, it was my cousin's birthday. We trying to get a club. Nah, man, you with me, dog. Yo, with me. Come on, yo, with me. So we go with security. He's like, yo, they with me. Get us in. We're going up to the VIP. So we go upstairs to the VIP area. He tells the bartender whatever we want. He got it, whatever. He's like, yo, I got to go in the back. I'll be right back. So we at the bar drinking. So I'm looking. He walks down this hallway. Two big security guards there. They move out the way. He go into his room. They stand in front of the door. So we hanging out, and I'm constantly looking back there like, what the heck is doing back there with security in front of the door? So probably like 45 minutes later, the door opens up and X walks out the room. So yeah, and then I look, fucking Prince and his lady walk out the room, and Prince is holding her hand. So I'm like, oh shit, that's Prince. So he's walking towards me, and security's in front of him. So they walk past me, and then here comes Prince and his lady. I was like, hey man, I just want you to know, y'all really appreciate your music. He was like, oh man, thanks. And he gave me the bro man hug. He gave me the dap, and he hugged me. I just looked at my hand. I was like, fucking Prince. And then he broke out. And the whole night I kept saying, yo, Prince shook my hand.
Wow.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. That's the only time I was starstruck.
We all got it. He got one with Mary J.
Oh,
and I got one with Brandy.
If we got a few minutes, let me tell you about the Mary J one. And okay.
I got a good Mary J story after you though. Before I get to the Brandy, I got a Mary J story for you. Go ahead.
So when we were at the station, when we got hired at the station, we were interns, and we said if there's ever an issue with being starstruck, we would never do that because we know it's business.
Right.
But I said there's only one person that will make me feel that way, and that's Mary J. Well, this particular, we found out she was coming to the station, so I called him
because I was at work
and he left work
just to
so
go
to be
to the
there.
station.
So we get, and this is when she was married to I think his name's Keanu.
Keenan, yeah.
And they both got to the station, and
she was with her brother too,
right?
Because he's pretty cool.
And she went in to do her interview, and we're just sitting at the table. I'm starstruck. I'm like, I can't believe she's in another room. Didn't move. So her husband at the time and her brother were sitting at another table, and my brother's sitting in front of me. And of all the things that my brother says to her, he says this.
Okay, so I was talking to the brother and Keanu. I was like, no disrespect, sir. I said, but I have to say this. And he was struck. He was just like, what? His face expression, like
wait till you hear
he'd turn white. I said, I understand you married to Mary J. Blige, but this is her first husband right here. He laughed. He took it the right way.
And all I could do was just drop.
And he was like, no, that's cool. That's cool. I'm going to tell her.
And he went in to go get her. And I didn't realize it then. When she came out, the first thing she said was, "Where's my husband at?"
The first what?
And I felt so like
yes. And she was, and when she went to go take the picture, she's in the middle. She had my brother on the left side.
Right.
Had me. She literally yanked us in,
and she said, "Which one is my husband?" And I said, and my brother pointed at me, and I said, "Me." And I dropped my head, and she put me close. I was just like,
"Yo,
wow."
Fucked out. She was real cool, real cool.
Wow, that's dope. That's dope. So let me tell you my Mary story. So I'm with Kwame.
I'm front and center on this one.
Yeah, I'm with Kwame. So me and Kwame, we had to do. Mary was doing I forgot what album it was. Because Kwame did a record on Mary's album, My Life. He did LOVE. He produced that song Love, first record on that. So anyway, we Track Masters was doing a session. Tone and Polk Trap Masters, they were doing a session with Mary. So Kwame had to go bring a DAT tape to the session for Mary. So I'm driving. We said, we're going to the studio, and Mary. So Kay was like, "Yo, you want me to tell you something crazy?" And he said, "What?" He said, "I got, you know who my two biggest fans are?" And this is Kwame telling me. I'm like, "Who?" He said, "Janet Jackson and Mary J. Blige." I was like, "Man, get the fuck out of here. They ain't the biggest fan." He's like, "No, seriously. When Janet Jackson and Mary J. Blige, every time they see me, they wig out. Like, that's Kwame's favorite word, like wig out. He said, they wig out." I'm like, nigga, whatever. So we get to the studio, right? So we get there, and Mary's in the sound booth, but she's sitting on the floor. So she's sitting on the floor, and you know how the booths are, so she can't see who's really on the other side. Right. So we come in, see Tone and Polk, we talking to him, and I see the reflection of Mary on the booth sitting on the floor with somebody else. So I'm sitting there, in my mind, I was like, yeah, well. So Mary stands up. And when she noticed Kwame, oh my God, she was like, "Oh my God, it's Kwame. Kwame is out there." She took off her headphones and like rushed to the door. I'm sitting there like, ain't this some shit? Like, and she ran out, "Oh my God, Kwame." Oh, she's hugging him and all that. And Kwame kind of looked at me like, "Yeah, see, told you, said, told you, kid." And I'm sitting there like, Kwame got Mary J. Blige wigging out over him. Like, this shit is fucking crazy. Well, yeah. That was my marriage story.
He was looking to pay me back because I still say it. I don't care. I love me some Janet Jackson.
Right.
And I said, I knew after that Mary J. Blige situation, he's going to be like, "Yo, wait, if she ever come through this station." But I'm waiting.
Payback time, right?
I'm a real, I'm a real big fan of Kwame because that dude made some tracks that when I finally found out that he did this and he did that record, I'm like, what? So we're like really into producing and writing. So
yeah.
So the last,
he did that On Fire for Lloyd Banks, right? That Kwame did that track. On fire, up in here, we're in this joint, we're on fire.
That when I tell you, he's got a catalog, he's good.
Yeah.
But the best for me is that one.
Yeah. Because when that first dropped, that's all he was playing was On Fire. I was like, I like Hands Up. That joint right there.
Yeah, Hands Up is dope joint. Yeah. He did joint with Tweet. He did stuff with everybody. Tweet, The whole Vivian Green's last couple of albums he produced, and she's on his label.
Do a book, sir. You need to do a book.
You know,
yeah.
I did an interview back in July with a particular rapper, hip hop artist,
Mm.
and somehow you came up, and we were like, "You know him? We know Kevin."
For real?
Nimrod.
Oh wow! Yes. Nimrod.
When I tell you he is cool. When I tell you cool, like, and you already, I'm sure you know.
Yeah. Nimrod's a great dude, man.
And we were nervous to do an interview. I mean, because people know him, and he sat down with us. He was real chill. Right. That interview was very good.
Right.
So there was a Kwame did a song on Will Smith's album. Can't remember what song he did. Oh, the one with the Men in Black joint.
The hook. Was it? It was called Men in. Was it Men in Black, or was it another?
Yeah,
song?
it had like almost like a country tune to it, a country beat to it. Damn, I can't remember the Will Smith joint.
I know exactly what because that had that like hand clap.
Hand clap joint. Yeah.
That joint. That was him too?
So yeah, Kwame did that. Wow. So we go to a video shoot. Oh, excuse that call, that phone ringing. We go to the video shoot in Philly, and Jada produces the video. And this particular song, Kwame is featured on it, Biz is featured on it, whatever. So they had everybody. It was like an old school song, whatever. So we had us all go down there. So now we get there, and I didn't know that Jada was producing the video. So we get there, and as we get there, Kwame's like, "Yo, got tight security, whatever, because Jada's doing this video." So I was like, "Word?" I said, "I know Jada from college." So Kwame's like, "Yeah, whatever." I was like, "No, I know Jada from college. Like, Jada went to North Carolina School of the Arts, which is down like 2 blocks away from Winston-Salem State, 3 blocks away. So we had a New York club, was a Northern Connection, and she was a member because she was from Philly, and they were at School of Arts. So that was like white school. And so she would come over and hang on campus with us. And she had a brown Datsun, and she used to drive us to Burger King. She'd come in the yard, pick me, my man, tap up, little Kevin, drive us to Burger King because she don't even have the car at the time. So I was like, "Yo, for real." So he was like, "All right, cool, whatever." So we get there, doing whatever, and then Jada's walking with security, whatever, and they doing some. So she's walking my way. I said, "Okay, watch this." I go, "What's up, Jada?" And when I say it, security kind of like gave me the stiff arm. And I wasn't trying to approach her. I was just like, "Yo, what's up, Jada?" So he was like, "Oh, hold up." So she's looking at me and she's giving me a look like, that question mark look like, "Damn,
I know you."
I said, "It's me, KB." So she was like, "KB?" And she was like looking. So now Kwame is laughing. I said, "Winston-Salem State." She was like, "Oh, snap, KB, what's up?" And I was like, I got Kwame the way Mary wigged out.
Yeah.
Jada was like, "Yo, KB know me from back in the day. Like, we was in college together." I said, "You had the little brown Datsun." She's like, "He remembers my car, my first car." Yeah, so I got him back with that Jada. So that was dope.
That's what's up. Now, this last one is, I hope people will remember me most for
being genuine. Hold on, for being genuine. Yeah, I just being genuine. What you see is what you get. And fame. I don't even think fame is not nothing to me. So nothing's gonna change who I am. I'm the same dude that you knew from 8th grade. Like, I'm the same dude from Flushing, Sanford Avenue, 13235 Sanford Avenue, apartment 414, Flushing, New York, 11355.
All right.
I don't live there no more, but I'm the same. I'm the same dude. I'm the same guy, man.
Man, first, we just definitely want to say thank you for taking the time out to interview with us. And I'll be honest with you, we were nervous to ask because we have a list of people we wanted to interview, and but I didn't know like what was a good time to ask, and and he would always say that people can only say one of two things, yes or no.
Yep,
And
that's it.
And again, we definitely want to thank you. I mean, there's overflow of respect for you and what you do. If people wanted to get in contact with you, how could they do so? Whether it's Plush Vodka, and your book.
Oh
Right.
yeah, yep.
Vodka.com.
When that joint get ready, it's gonna be hot. It's gonna be like fire. Yeah, hit me IG, the real Kev Bracey. Facebook Messenger, Kevin KB Bracey. Those are the best way. And if you know Plush Rocket stuff, kbracey@plushrocket.com is the email. But yeah, those the IG and the message is the best way to reach me.
And if people wanted to purchase the Plush Vodka, and we don't normally drink, but do anyway.
Right.
So the best place, order online, plushrocket.com, or depends on the area. So we're in 19 markets. So Total Wines and More is one of the big stores, warehouse stores that carries us. Buy Right is another one that carries us. And just, if you go to your local store and it's not there, ask for them to order it.
Okay.
Ask for them to order Plush Vodka, and they will order it for you.
Definitely. Because when I was looking for it yesterday, the liquor store, he said he didn't know that. He was like, the name, what's the name? So I went and pulled your email up. I said, it's Plush Vodka. He was like, okay. And I noticed when I was leaving, he was writing it down. So you never know. They might be ordering it.
You may order it in a couple of weeks. It'll be there.
Of course, I left without buying anything.
Let them know. Yeah, they'll order it for you, especially in the Baltimore, Maryland area. Opeachy Family is our distributor out there, and they have accounts in a lot of stores. So you just say, Plush Vodka, and stores will order it for you.
Good.
Again,
we want to say
thank you to Mr. Brother, your executive. There's so many titles.
World renowned. All titles. Awesome.
Oh man, appreciate y'all, man. Go Mob, frat.
Go Mob.
Go Mob.
There you go.
Have a good one.
And
all right, you too. Peace.
Twins. Peace.